And so that really helps the mind and the body say, in order for me to be, I can take this one concept of being consistent and apply it to anything else in my life, whether it's my marriage, whether it's my money, whether it's my job, whether it's my career, no matter what it is, it's the same concept, but every single thing. So it's super important if you're for your growth overall.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Let's Rock podcast. I'm your host, Philosophikal.
I'm your co-host, Ecko. What's good?
What's up, y'all? As you can see, man, we have a returning guest, Mr. Rickey Getwood Jr., man. He is a life coach, personal trainer, licensed masseuse, author, drummer, and also a motivational speaker, man. Welcome back, man. Really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here, man. You guys are doing amazing things, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, man. So we're going to go right into it, man. I want to talk about kind of the different content you put out, man. Mm-hmm. It's very, man, I see you constantly working out, but it's always a message behind that, right? As far as your ambitions and your goals and being in the gym and working out a lot is a lot of discipline, right? Mm-hmm. It's a lot of work ethic, right? So how important is that, going to the gym to our men today?
Oh, man. Well, we want to be more specific for men. We can do that. I like to just kind of focus on everybody, just as a whole, as a human race. Okay. Our bodies are meant to be challenged, and if we don't have any type of challenges, we can't grow. Even if you look at like the essence of like plants, you know what I'm saying? If there's no rain, if there's no wind, it can't grow at all, right? And so what's happening is nature has its own way of challenging itself. Us as humans, we don't really have any other physical way to challenge ourselves. Obviously we live in a modern day where, cell phones are accessible, we constantly busy and distracted from the thing that actually makes us better, which is being challenged in order for us to grow. So everything that comes so easy, we're not allowing our body to do what it does naturally. So if you aren't taking the time to say, look, let me challenge myself for at least 30 minutes to an hour every single day, you're not allowing yourself to actually grow. Now, you can grow mentally by, learning different habits, different things like that. But that's just one part of your whole body, right? Your anatomy is so amazing. You have voluntary, involuntary muscles, and we're only using technically, like, we say all the time, you technically only use 20% of your devices, right? There's about a whole nother 80% that we haven't even tapped into yet, man. You know what I mean? So I look at that just like the human body. It's the same thing. We're constantly always in our head with everything. And we forget about this whole other 80% of our body that can actually make us better. We're not fully functioning. So my biggest thing, like, we're fully functioning human beings. And don't get me wrong, I've done like bodybuilding shows, and I've been super fit, super lean, all the different weird shows, from competitions to like Running Man, different things like that. But now it's like, it's more about understanding your mind and your body. Just be healthy and be fit, man. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't got to have a six pack. If you want a six pack, cool. You know what I'm saying? Trust me. Most people who, like, I tell people all the time, if you really want a six pack, if you don't have the discipline to do simple things, just forget about getting a six pack. Just do simple things. Like, just focus on being healthy. Because trying to get a six pack, trying to be super lean and cut takes extreme discipline, right? So I'm looking at fitness as that's the one physical thing that you can do every single day to train your mind and body to do something over and over and over and over, right? Because it's just something that your body just naturally wants to do, instead of like somebody trying to force you to do it. That's the one thing you can do. You say every day at 6 a.m., I'm gonna get up and go to the gym. You're creating new habits, and now your mind and your body gets used to it. Your mind says, oh shoot, even if I don't want to get up and go to the gym some days, my body just so used to it. It's like, oh, I'm up at 4:30 every single morning, and I'm going. My body and my brain is just so used to it. And so that really helps the mind and the body say, in order for me to be, I can take this one concept of being consistent and apply it to anything else in my life, whether it's my marriage, whether it's my money, whether it's my job, whether it's my career, no matter what it is, it's the same concept, but every single thing. So it's super important if you're for your growth overall.
That's very important. Very important. I'm glad you mentioned that because I do think this goes back to, you wanting a six pack or you really wanted to be toned. That brings a certain type of discipline, right? And it also brings a point of wanting to go 0 to 100 in such a short time, right?
Facts.
And we spoke about this to set the rudimentary goals first, right? What's your overall baby step goal of why you want to go to the gym, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You want to be in shape, right? So
Right.
what does that let's peel back that layer. What's your reasoning for wanting to be in shape, right? Are you trying to impress someone? Are you doing it for someone else? Or are you doing it for your own mindset to put yourself in a different place than you were, some time ago, right? Because it is discipline. It is a different mindset. It's also some sort of a release of stress, of right, what you have going on in your life at that current moment. So I do think, for me, I do work out, right? But I do kind of get on myself because I'm not doing it at the consistent level I should be, right? And I think sometimes discipline, patterns, behavioral changes is about consistent, right? And let's be real, going to the gym every day, right? It takes an extreme level of discipline, right? But if you're not going to the gym every day, right, don't beat yourself up about not being consistent. I think sometimes that is tough because, as a man, when you're not as consistent on certain things you feel you should be, it can cause an issue sometimes mentally.
Not only mentally, but also physically. Now, now I want to be actually more specific about men.
Okay. Okay. Go
All right.
ahead.
I'm in my 40s now, so I feel qualified to talk about this particular topic. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And coming from somebody who was 400 pounds at one point, who was on high blood pressure medication, who did have diabetes. Yeah, oh yeah. I was diabetic. I had cholesterol issues. I'm talking about on the scale of unhealthiness, I was at 10. You know what I'm saying? Any particular area you could think of, I had it, So I tell people all the time, I say, man, I'm the worst person to give excuses to because I've done it all. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, don't tell me, oh man, I gotta be on blood pressure medication forever. I'd be like, bullshit, no, you don't. Because I was on it for 2 whole years, you know what I mean? And one of the biggest things that made me want to get off of it, now y'all brothers, so I gotta be honest, y'all. The day I couldn't get an erection, I knew it was a problem.
Wow. Yeah.
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 I said,
Yeah.
we have a problem, sir. You know what I mean? We have a problem. And I was 32 at the time, so I'm still relatively young, right? And so, not only was my blood pressure a problem, my cholesterol was too bad, and then that's when I really started tapping into stress and understanding how cortisol and hormones and everything works, right? So I didn't have an erection for almost 3 months straight, and I'm 32. And I knew something wrong, you know what I'm saying? So on blood pressure medication, on cholesterol medication, thyroid medication, anxiety medication, right? And I keep telling people all the time, the more synthetic drugs you take, the more you take away from your body's natural ability to do what it's supposed to do, right? So one thing you're doing is you're rewiring your system to be codependent on something external. See, so even in my book, I start talking about that. I'm like, yo, the battle is within yourself. If you win the battle against yourself, you're always going to win. But if you keep searching externally for something to fix it, you're always going to lose because you're taking things away from yourself and you're trying to find external sources to feed inside your body, right? And because everything is energy, you don't know where the particular energy is coming from. The medicine that you're getting, where are you getting it from? You go to Walgreens, get your prescription filled. The lady just had a bad day. She giving you some, you know what I'm saying, giving you her energy with that synthetic medicine that you put inside your body, hoping to transition your body into something, doing something it's supposed to do naturally, and you wonder why it's not working. Now, here you go, another problem. You're stressed out because you're on medication. You're overweight, out of shape. Don't add being broke to it. You add being broke to it. For men, you talk about, I had testosterone issues for about almost a year. Okay. And most men don't realize this. I'm like, they go to the corner store, get the blue pills, I call it. Don't go to the corner store, get them blue pills, man. Stop doing it. Don't get them. Hey, stop going to the corner store and get them blue pills, man. You know what I'm saying? That stuff is literally a killer, right? So you're trying to force your body to do something that it's supposed to do naturally. The reason why you're not getting an erection, okay, the reason why your body's not functioning properly is because you're not functioning properly as a man first. You got to function properly as a man first from your mindset. So going to the gym, again, it does release testosterone. It does increase your endorphins inside your body. You be consistent with it over and over and over. You need a certain amount of resistance to release all the unnecessary stress that's built around your gut. I always say, look, man, if your gut is hanging over your thighs, let me just be honest. I'm gonna say the way I really say it. If your gut is hanging over your nut, you got a problem.
Oh man.
You got a problem, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So because all that visceral fat is around your vital organs and it's preventing your body to increase blood flow to your actual testosterone, to your nuts, and you can't get an erection because everything's clogged up and blocked up. So when you take all these artificial medicines and try to force your body to do it, okay, you making your heart work twice as hard, which is why some guys die and pass out from having sex. When you get that erection, your heart, your heart rate's going 100 miles per hour, to actually 200 miles per hour. The valves get too clogged up, and then boom, you're done. Going to the gym, you get that same intentional release from stressing your muscles out intentionally, and it's increasing your blood flow throughout your entire body, and it has somewhere to actually go. So I'm saying, like, look, transition all that sexual frustration and the need to feel like a man and all the other stuff to go to the gym, man. Just lift some weights every now and then. You get the same actual endorphin release, but your mindset is in a completely different place because you're doing it internally versus externally.
I'll
Go
co-sign
ahead,
that
Jeff.
because I'm not a I have certain goals for fitness and everything like that, but I know for me, just based on the way my schedule works, like I have two jobs and I'm usually not consistent on what time I'm gonna be home. So I just decided, you know what, 3 times a week. Let's just do 3 times a week
Mhm.
and try and maintain that consistently. And you fall off every now and again, but like I've literally felt and seen my mood changes when I'm active. Like when I'm not exercising, when I have a long day at work, it's like life sucks, this is terrible. What am I doing here? But the second I start exercising again, it's like, yeah, that was rough, but it is what it is. That's life. Move on. What's the next thing? Just keep pushing.
Mhm.
As opposed to, what's it called? Everything is doom and gloom just because I didn't get a workout in.
Yeah.
And like you said, now like yesterday, I came home and I was so tired, I literally passed out. Like I was sitting down trying to do some more work, and I literally passed out staring at my
Mhm.
computer. and
Mhm.
and I woke up, and my whole thing was I could work out, or I could just go back to sleep because that's
Mhm.
kind of what I want to do. And ultimately, I ended up going to work out because I was like, I know I'm gonna sleep better if I do, so let's just go do that real quick. And
Facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
it ultimately I feel better. That
Right.
that that's it.
That's the thing that kind of, I guess, bothers me, and I'm being very transparent when it comes down to people, especially as a life coach. And I hear a lot of stories, I hear a lot of excuses, and I start calling them excuses nowadays. Some people have valid reasons, their life situations and trials and trauma. I get it. Some things you just inevitable, right? But for the average person who lives the normal life, you got your regular 9 to 5, may have a kids, family, and you're just tired. Okay, if you know for a fact when you go to the gym you feel better, why aren't you allowing yourself to do it? Okay, it's only because I say this over and over and over. We haven't learned to value our human experience yet. Okay,
Mm.
once you learn how to value the human experience and you start thinking about your body, you're like, why am I going to self-destruct like that? Why am I going to self-sabotage my ability to potentially feel good with I'm just tired, I'm just lazy, I ain't gonna do it today? And again,
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with you need to work out 5 6 days out of the week. Once you, as a coach, I help people realize if your lifestyle doesn't require you to work out 5 6 days a week, and you only need a couple days out of the week to keep your blood pressure low, to keep your cholesterol good, to give you a certain amount of energy, man, keep at it. Just do that. Like, and it really only take 30 minutes a day. Like most of my clients now, it's 30-minute workouts. They're losing weight, keeping their life simple, keeping their caloric intake down. Just do that over and over and over. Change your mindset to be like, man, I just got to do 30 minutes a day. You don't, and here's a big kicker. You don't necessarily have to go to the gym. You really don't. You could be in your house, and I promise you, I tell you, look, when my clients be like, I don't know what to do today, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I do. I copy and paste because I have 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, 10 burpees. You're done. Go to sleep.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta do. I promise you, be good.
So I mean, you again, you are I don't want to call you a fitness influencer because I think there's a stigma that comes. Well, at least for me, there's a stigma that comes with it. But you are somebody who works in the fitness industry, and so as someone who, like you, has had an interest in being fit for a while, there are certain things in the fitness industry that just aren't healthy. You know, there's a difference between fitness and health for me, at least.
Facts.
So, what are some things that you feel like we should take away from the fitness industry, and some things you think we need to leave behind?
Absolutely. So I always like to do negative, positive, or something from 0 to 10. You know, and I did kind of tap on it just a little bit earlier. The thing that you don't want to focus on so much is comparing yourself to people who actually are in fitness for a living. Okay, that's number one, right? Because social media is set up to do that. Like, you know, now you can say the influencers. The influencers are the people who fitness is their life, meaning they're in the gym 8, 9, 10 hours a day. That is literally their life, right? Their main job are as a personal trainer, as a bodybuilder, is to be in the gym all day and look a certain way to attract people so they can sell their business, right? So if you look at the person who is selling the business, who that's their main job, they don't have a 9 to 5, they're not going into an office, they're not, you know, they don't have a regular job. You know, if you compare yourself to that person, you're not going to win, because that person is dedicated to being in the gym all day, every day, to eating right, you know, 300 days out of the year, I like to call it, right? So that's number one. No, that's point zero. Stop comparing yourself to the person that's their lifestyle, okay? Because you can't keep up with that person. You know, you probably get your 30 minutes every other day. That person's, trust me, they're working out 3 or 4. When I worked at the gym, I was literally working out maybe 3 hours out of the day. Come on now, like trying to catch up to a person that works out 3 hours a day, 5 to 6 days out of the week, and you only do 30 minutes, you know, 3 or 4 days. It don't even make sense, right? So forget that. Just forget it all together. Moving forward, the next thing, the one thing you do want to take from it, just like I said, I mentioned earlier, is the idea of consistency, and reprogram your mind to look at fitness completely different. You know, if you look at it from a health standpoint first versus an aesthetic standpoint, you're going to be okay. Okay. So I've had several clients that had medical conditions, and the first thing they want to come in and talk about, I want to look like this, I want to look like The Rock. I'm like, stop. just stop. Don't do that, right? First of all, let's let you look healthy. Let's get you healthy first. You know, first. Let's lower your blood pressure. Let's get your cholesterol levels down. You know, let's take your stress level down. Let's focus on that first, because before you can physically change your aesthetics, you have to change your mindset first. You got to change your internal organs first. The last thing you want to focus on is the external part. You know, now there's ways to get there. If you're healthy, 100% healthy, I'm like, okay, yeah, bet. Let's change your diet. Let's do these type of workouts over and over and over. So the main thing is stop focusing on so much on aesthetics, because aesthetics actually come last. Even as a bodybuilder, trust me, the process is completely different. So when you see bodybuilders and they all nice, lean, and cut up, that's probably for about maybe 4 weeks, right? Because we do like a cut 2 weeks before the actual show, right? So we cut down, don't drink no water, you know, deplete yourself in water so you can see all your muscles and veins and vascular popping and everything like that. That's when they take a crap load of pictures, a whole lot of videos. They're like, hey, I'm cut, I'm lean, put the videos out, right? 3 weeks later, right back to normal. You know what I mean? So physically and aesthetically, you don't even get that until you've gone through the process, right? The most important thing I want you to take away from it. Every trainer says this, and I promise you, that's why I never have anything bad to say about a trainer who says this. There's a whole lot of gimmicky stuff out there. Oh, take this weight loss pill. You can get abs in a couple of days. You can drop 100 pounds and all this stuff. And I tell people, I see most people know my backstory. I did lose 100 pounds in 6 weeks, but it was the most inappropriate, unhealthy way possible. Okay. I was literally starving myself and I did drugs. Just being honest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
So
you did everything you were supposed to.
I did everything I was supposed to do. And the only thing I did was cardio. I didn't lift no weights. And so that's how I got left with like excess saggy skin, you know. And I tell people, I was saying, you drop 100 pounds in 6 weeks, you're gonna have a lot of excess skin. You're gonna have some stubborn belly fat that's left over because you didn't lose weight properly, right? So again, all I was doing was cardio. And I was doing all kind of, well, not like crack, not like illegal drugs, but like, well, at this point it is illegal. Hydroxycut is illegal. But I was on the hydroxycut. I was on the super Atkins diet. I was trying some Winstrol, all the other weird type of stuff. So it was technically drugs. And so I lost 100 pounds in 6 weeks, but that's not right. Okay. But the thing I do want people to take away from every trainer, if and when they do say this, and it's so simple, which is why now when people ask me for meal plans and workout plans, I have no problem giving it to them. Because that's the easy part. I promise you, that's the easy part. Putting up, I could do this right now. We're on the phone. Meal plan, done. Workout plan, done. Okay. If you start looking at food and exercise completely different, and the basic science to losing weight is very, very simple. Work out more, eat less.
Yeah.
That's the whole plan. I promise you. So that's a whole plan. Now, that's the scientific way behind all that stuff is pretty simple. You know, you can take your body mass index, time to times your age, different things like that. Look at your body fat percentage, come up with some simple calculations. But the average person, I'll keep it very, very simple like this. Let's just say you weigh 250 pounds, okay, and you want to weigh 180 pounds. Well, eat 1,800 calories, period. Whatever, however much you want to weigh, you need to eat that times 100. That's going to be your answer, okay? Keep it very, very simple. So now if you have any complications, let's say you are insulin resistant, which means every time you eat carbs or sugar, your body just pushes it out and it pushes it out your body because you can't digest it. You got diabetes, something like that. Then your body can't digest it properly. So now you don't need to be on a baseline 1,900 caloric deficit. What you need to do is be on a more almost keto type style diet, which means low carbs, high protein, medium fats. That's for a person who has a complication, you know what I'm saying? So that's when you start getting very specific with what type of meal plan to give to a person based on their condition. But the average person who just needs to lose some weight, then pretty decent shape, look, man, take your caloric intake, minus about 200-300 calories, eat that. That's it. That's it. Keep it very, very simple, you know? So that's the one thing I would say take away. The science to losing weight and showing muscle, that's a whole nother topic, but the science to it is work out more, eat less. You'll be okay.
I want to speak on, you know, you spoke on it a couple times now, you know, you losing weight, being a, you know, a life coach, Arthur, those are what we call, you know, me personally, accomplishments and accolades, right? And even being a licensed massage therapist, right?
Absolutely.
How important is it for men these days to have these, you know, to have accomplishments and accolades?
Man, my personal story, I'll be honest with you. So my first book was How to Be Happy Coming from a Non-College Graduate. Okay. And I wrote that because that was my issue. That was my issue, that I didn't finish any of my degrees. I started off a psychology degree, I started off as a physical therapist, didn't finish none of that. Okay. Started, stop, started, stop, started, stop. And so throughout that period of starting and stopping, I found myself being very depressed, you know, or not feeling accomplished, or feeling inadequate and somewhat incompetent, you know, for lack of deeper terms, because, oh, I didn't finish my degrees. And then all these other people I know, they had the degrees and they're out here making millions and they speaking and doing everything. Funny thing is, they're doing everything I'm doing now. But that's the funny part. That's the end of this whole topic right here. But being able to say that I did something for myself makes me successful is not only the most important thing I did, but I really feel like it saved my life, right? because again, I was suicidal. I had mental issues. You know, I was on Abilify and Tramadol and all the other stuff because I thought I had mental issues. And I was like, no, you ain't got mental issues. You're not necessarily depressed. You have depressing situations. That's the difference. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are clinically depressed, and I have nothing wrong with that. I get it. I've been through it. I talk about it freely because I've been through it. Okay. I've been through going to psychologists and a psychiatrist, counseling, therapy, all the other stuff. And now being a coach and everything else, I was like, well, I only want to get into psychology to understand myself. Okay. That's why I really want to get a psychologist. So how about I just take the time to actually understand myself? And when I started understanding myself, I started picking out things that I know I need for myself to be better. And I just started doing them things over and over and over and over. Right. So people laugh at me now because I got like 37 certifications and 2 licenses.
Yeah.
You know,
you started and never stopped.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, that's the thing. So my reason for doing that was, and here's the funny, it's almost a catch-22, and it has a little bit of a 20 dark side to it, because every time I got another certification, I was expecting that feeling to make me feel more accomplished. Okay. I wanted that feeling to substitute, oh, I didn't get my degree, so the certification is suffice. You know, so let me go get another course. Let me take another class. Let me take another lesson. Let me get another license, you know, over and over and over. And even when I did get back into college, I was like, I don't want this. This is not what I want. Okay. I don't want this, you know. So I started saying and thinking to myself, again, I never coach people unless I coach myself. I do it all over and over and over. Say, Ricky, what do you really want? Or better yet, what do you need to make you feel validated? Right. And the answer to that was, Ricky, just be yourself. Be yourself and find the thing that you actually like to do and put the fucking pedal to the metal and go that route. Like, just go there. You know what I mean? So every man, and that's funny you say, y'all say that, I promise you. And I was just talking to, I was talking to my barber about this. You know, he was like, man, sometimes I don't feel qualified as a man. And I said, I get it, bro. Trust me, I understand.
Send him this podcast.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to sending it to him. I'm really looking forward to sending it to him, man. Because a lot of men don't feel qualified because they keep comparing themselves to everybody else, right? The thing that gets me into a lot of rooms, and I can tell people, they say, man, you go over here, I got millionaire clients, I hang out with politicians and different things like that, and I don't have a degree at all, right? So I'm like, a degree has nothing to do with it, which is how I wrote my next book, Reprogram Your Happiness, right? It has nothing to do with a degree. It's all about the perception of yourself. Okay. So the thing that makes a person feel incompetent, and this is the truth, when you really think about it, you only feel incompetent when you haven't applied the actions to the thing that you desire the most. Really think about it. You only feel insecure. Think of the word insecure. I'm not secure in a particular area. Why am I so secure in these areas of fitness and psychology talk and therapy talk? Because I put the freaking work in. You know what I'm saying? So I'm secure to a certain level in these particular areas. So why do men need to have these certain accolades, certain accomplishments? Because it makes you feel competent as a man. It makes you feel competent as a person, not just as a man. So your dick don't make you a man, right? That doesn't make you a man. What makes you a man is being able to sit back and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I stand for. Take it or leave it. I'm good.
I will add to that because you mentioned about being depressed, right? And it kind of made me think, because I was there too, right? And I think I was so depressed to a point where, you know, I did have those suicidal thoughts, right? Because I felt at that time, I was so depressed at the fact that, you know, at 18, I wanted to be married and have kids, right? So I got into relationships, and I blamed and this was early in my, you know, way before I got married. I blamed the person I was with, right? Because I didn't have what other people had.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I blamed the person I was with and pushed them and really, you know, resented the relationships I was in. And that's probably, and a lot of that was my fault. I resented the partners I was in because I wasn't getting what everybody else was having. Right. And I was depressed to the fact that, man, why isn't this happening? right? And I became so depressed that I started questioning God
Mm.
on why don't I have, a family yet? Right? Why am I not in a nice house? Right? Why am I not having the facade, fairy tale of happy wife, kids, and just living glorious, right? Because that's what I was seeing from other people, right? But what I didn't understand was I was trying to mimic who I wanted to be through somebody else.
Say it again.
Right?
Say it again.
I was trying to compare what everybody else had and trying to mimic the so-called man, right? What they had, not understanding who I am. Right. And I think a lot of that is so misunderstood. And in fact, me and Jay had the conversation earlier to where, I was at zero, right? Feeling like, man, I didn't have my own place to be able to provide, right? Why didn't I have my own place? Because everybody else had their own place. How do I get there? Right. But I ignored the fact that I was like, man, who am I? Right? Who do I want to be? And who I am and where I want to be. I just thought about this yesterday. Right. And I'm in my late 30s right now. Right. And I just saw I was looking at a video to where it was interesting, man. Like, if me today met me 20 years ago, right? If I was sitting right over here and I was 19 years old, what would I tell myself? Right? And what I would tell myself, and I guess the whole point and premise and purpose of this podcast is that, right? What you're going through right now, however, you may feel like you're a zero, you may feel like you're depressed, right? The whole point and the whole thing of don't let the exterior, society tell you, you're crazy. So we need to put you on this medicine. Right? You're obese. Right. So we got to put you on this medicine. Right? Figure out who you are, figure out who you want to be.
Right.
Then if this is something you want to take on, don't look on somebody who's been doing it for 10 plus years and has the discipline and train their mindset and behaviors to be able to go to the gym every day. Right. To be able to, tell their story like you are, Ricky. Right. Because you were at a zero. Right. Jay, you were at a zero. I was at a zero. Right. But I had to understand, like now I feel like I can be in a room with politicians, millionaires, other podcasters, right? Producers, executives. Why? Because I know who I am and I feel like I'm relatable to their story because everybody has a story, right? You've got to be authentic. You've got to be yourself, right? And I feel like sometimes people view other people as a threshold or a milestone to get to that point, but they're only mimicking who they are, who the other person is, instead of mimicking who you are. Right? You can't that's one thing I will say about my wife, right? I got a lot of ideas. I got a lot of things I want to do, but it can't be done in 10 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to articulate that and understand not only within yourself, but the partner you're with to understand that, I get tired. Sometimes I get tired of having to go back to the drawing board because I put myself there. Right. And I feel like that's so misunderstood with men. Right. We get tired of going back to the drawing board. Right. And that's part of the next question we're going to ask in a few minutes. But getting tired of going back to the drawing board because we're trying to figure out back in the day we called it a get rich quick scheme. Right. A get rich quick scheme with our body, with our mind. Right. And not figuring out who we are.
Facts. Man, let me just say this right quick. I was on my mind.
Go ahead.
You said the because my brain was going. I get a little knot in my head. It's like because again, I'm a huge energy person, man. So like I'm big on frequency. So when that frequency hit, man, it's like I'm a surfer just ready to go out there and hop on that wave and ride it. You know what I'm saying? Even though I've never ridden surf before. But anyway, actually, I did try to ride a boogie board and I almost died. But anyway,
wow.
It's not. I'm too big, bro. It's like, what do I do with this thing? And then cats, them boys that be surfing, they be serious, man. If you get in their way, I was like, bro, I'm sorry, bro. I didn't know. There was rules out in the water. There's rules in the water.
You can die out here.
Literally from a shark or somebody beating you up because you got in their way. Man, but you said something that was so key, and I promise I could show a text message. I had a full text message conversation with my sister earlier today. So it's amazing that you asked that question, right? She asked me, she every now and then she'll ask me, am I okay? And I get it, okay? And I know she's prying and picking just a little bit. I know she is, because she cares and she knows my mindset, right? And I was honest and I told her this, because then I have a whole other situation going on with my son. Like he's on drugs. I don't mind telling you a story. Like he's on drugs. He's been in and out of psych ward, different things like that. So somebody who is, into counseling and life coaching and motivational speaking, my own battle it's right here in my house, you know what I'm saying, with my son, my daughter, everybody. I was like, wow, like I have to go through it, which makes me, here's the thing, it actually makes me good at what I do. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like I can't tell these stories and talk about it if I haven't been through it. You know what I'm saying? Which brings to my point, we're talking about going through things, right? And I learned this young. So this is my third marriage. I'm engaged right now, right? Third marriage. Yeah. So my sister asked me, she said, you go through these phases over and over and over. And I was very honest and I'm very transparent with myself. I said, man, I go through these phases over and over and over. And I don't mind telling you my story, because what I would do, because I had daddy issues and I wanted to make sure that I was a better father for my kids, right?
Yes.
I wanted to make sure I was a better father for my kids. So in my attempt to make better decisions for my kids, I was also hurting them during the process, okay? During a young age. Y'all older now. They're 19, 21, and 23. So they're older now, but still kind of coping and dealing with things that happened when they were younger, right? We're good. We're in a good place. I'm still working on my older son. But what I would do was this. I would leave the person I was with because I wanted to be there for my kids, sabotage the relationship I was in, got engaged, got married, sabotage it. I don't want to be here. I need to be here for my kids, right? Leave the relationship, go get up my own place, get set up for my kids, you know what I'm saying? Spend a couple of months together, and then they're kind of teenagers around the town, so they're gonna do their own thing. So I don't see them for a couple of months. I get back in another relationship, okay? Still try to have a good relationship with my kids, but at the same time, when you're kids, you're teenagers, they're younger. When you get another relationship, they still look at that as you pushing them to the back burner, especially when they're younger. You know what I'm saying? So the whole blended family thing, right? So getting another relationship. Then I sit back and look at it again. I was like, dang, I did it again. I didn't spend enough time with my kids, and I got another relationship. So what I do? Self-sabotage that marriage. Get out of it all over again. Get my own place. Reestablish myself with my kids all over again. Spend a couple of months doing that. Meet somebody else. Push my kids slightly to the back burner. Get another relationship, right? And I was like, yo, this pattern I'm stuck in, we talking about a hell loop. I'm like, yo, people are talking about, like, esoterically speaking, living in hell is literally that. You are literally living in a hell loop. You're doing the same shit over and over, and you are living in hell. How do you go from hell to heaven? You change the patterns. You change the cycles. Okay. If you break the cycle, you can break the cycle off and go another direction and head towards heaven, which is where I am now. Okay. So my life is a little bit more heavenly because I've broken the cycle and I put myself on a new path towards heaven, right? So in this particular case, when I realized I did it again in my current relationship, I was like, dang it, I did it again. I broke up with the last person, got my own place, me and Nikki got together, and then here we are again. Kid you not, my mind went there again. It was like, oh, I need to spend time with my kids. I was like, okay. So I'm trying not to, I don't like to use the N-word much, but I'm like, boy, if you don't stop this cycle, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
If you
yeah,
don't stop this cycle, you're gonna do it all over again, and you're gonna hurt more and more people over and over and over. So what I had to learn how to do was learn from my past. I had to learn. So why do we keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over? Because we never learn the lesson. You
yeah,
never break the cycle.
There you go. Yeah.
You never realize that I'm doing the same thing over, and I never learn. I keep repeating it over and over and over. And the only thing I'm doing is bringing one hellish situation to the next hellish situation, to the next
yeah,
hellish situation. Okay, so you keep repeating it, and here's the various. I mean, I don't care whether you're Christian, Buddhist, whatever. They all say the same thing. If you don't learn the lesson, you're going to repeat it. Period.
mm.
Point blank.
So
So
what was your lesson? Can you kind of tell what
absolutely.
did you do to break that lesson?
Number
Just
one,
to kind of for people that's going through that.
absolutely. I had to check myself.
Okay.
Okay. I checked myself, and I gotta ask myself. I looked in the hardcore mirror, and I was like, Negro, what in hell? I literally said it, Negro, what in hell are you doing? Like if you say it that way, it sounds so much different
Yeah.
versus what the hell are you doing? What in hell are you doing? Like, why are you in hell?
Mm-hmm.
Ask yourself that question from a different perspective. Like, why are you in hell? And sit back and think about it.
Yeah.
Because of the decisions that I made put me in this particular place.
Yeah.
I held my own self accountable. I
Yeah.
was the one that made all these decisions. It ain't nobody else. I was influenced, but I was only influenced based on my emotional dependency.
Mm.
And that's the truth.
Mm.
Those things influence me based on the things I feel like I didn't have, which is why I always say people always seek the thing they feel like they don't have. So if you're seeking happiness, you try to make it and create it over and over and over. Instead of just being happy, then the happiness comes to you because you actually create it. So now I check myself. I sit back and check myself. I said, what in hell are you doing? I said, wow, I'm self-sabotaging my life, and I'm making everybody else pay for it because of my own personal issues.
Yep.
So I said, Negro, you got to man up. You
Yep.
got to man up. So this particular time, instead of self-sabotaging, I set things in order. I don't have to leave a situation that's not a bad situation and be available for my kids. What I can do as a man, as the head of the house, as the king, God, man, whatever words you want to use, is put everybody in order. Hey, kids, I'm going to see you on this day at this time. I'm going to work. Hey, you know what I'm saying? So I started putting things in order instead of self-sabotage. Because I told my sister earlier, I said, man, one good and bad thing about me, I never like to categorize things as good and bad, but in this case, it makes sense. I have a all or nothing attitude. So, bro, if you say, hey, Ricky, look, it's $1 million idea. And if you invest everything you got, it's gonna work. If I feel it, here, let's go. You know,
that's how I am.
Yeah, I don't think about it. You know what I'm saying? And also on the flip side of it, if you're like, hey, yo, this thing is bad, we need to back out. I'm like, done. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's not how life works. Okay. If you look at just the essence of life and the productivity of everything has some type of balance. Okay. Even if you think on, I mean, you're in IT stuff, even if you're looking at it from like an electrical standpoint, it has some type of conductor and semiconductor. It has to all flow together. It's negative, positive. If there's not something that keeps that thing balanced, something's going to explode. You know, or if it's something open, then something's going to be exposed, and so on and so forth. So the essence of life is to create balance in your life. I said, if you want to have a kingdom, create the actual balance. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to just be an asshole all the time. You could be kind of an asshole and then kind of chill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so it's just balance, man. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I love that you're saying all this because it literally, one, it ties into the entire conversation we're having, but it also ties into everything that we say on this podcast, where you're, like you said, you took accountability for your situation and you decided, you know what, let me figure out what I want and what I actually need. You did that. Let me establish some standards and expectations for myself of what I'm going to be doing. Let me set my house in order. Let me make a decision and stick to it. And you got there by by being selfish, so to speak, right? Like, all right, yes, everything I do has consequences, but the center of that is it's everything I do first. So Whether it's my health, I need to take accountability for my health. Whether it's your family, I need to take accountability for my family situation and my relationship. Whether it's your finances, oh, I want a specific career. It's like, all right, what, like you said, right now I am at 0. I don't like where I am. I don't like what I'm doing, and I'm in a health cycle. So what what changes can I make to upgrade my situation, so and I I'm a music head, so I like to relate everything to, like, everybody knows I'm the one with a quote, a saying, a song, something like that. That's
Nice.
sort of my thing.
You got a
But
song. You got a song for every situation, huh?
yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah,
love it.
I've also found out recently that I just randomly break out into song when I'm just not thinking about it, which people think is unhealthy sometimes, but it is what it is. It helps me cope. I'll figure it out.
Why did they say it's
But
unhealthy? No, that is the most healthiest thing you could do.
yeah, I mean, but the one of the things you said is um oh, and I just blanked out on it. But one of the things you said is you reach externally for all of the problems that you need to fix internally first. And I was just thinking of it, and it's like, oh, you hear all these songs about, especially in our community, being the Black community, about, oh, I'm gonna upgrade this person, or I'm a fix this person,
Right.
or I'm a lift this person out of their situation. But when we do that, we don't give them the tools to fix what's going on with them. We just fix the situation, and we're
Right.
like, all right, you're good now. Obviously, you're happy. And it's like that's not how you create lasting change. That's not how you create an effective actual solution.
Right.
And the other thing that I've been trying to focus on lately is, we, as people who try to change, who are trying to affect the world positively, there's a lot of us do it because we believe we are right.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody, I can't remember who it was, but I was watching the Diary of a CEO, which is a YouTube channel. They just interview CEOs and everything like that. There was a gentleman on there who I am forgetting his name, and if I remember, I will find the link and we can post it. But he said there's a difference between being right and being effective.
Mm.
And you can be right all day, but if you are not effective in what you are doing, then it doesn't matter. Because I mean, it's the same thing of like, oh, you can be correct, but if people don't like you, then it doesn't mean that, right?
Facts.
So going back to what you just said, like, oh, you can be a jerk, but pull back on it sometimes and just be a little chill every because if if you're just the jerk who's always right, all people are going to focus on is he's that jerk.
Exactly.
Like, sure, he's making sense, but I don't like him, so I'm gonna do this instead.
Yeah. Facts. Right. Yeah. Right.
So I wanna talk about something. You had an amazing post the other day, and I kind of wanted to ask a question about it. You talked about winning the battle against ourselves as men, right?
Right.
But what the question I want to ask is that why do you think men are losing so much so quickly, and how can men win the battle?
Is it why you're losing so quickly?
Yeah, I feel like why is well, first, do you feel like a lot of times when we as men we lose, it's all over? Do you feel like it's over? And I kind of, because like with the situation where you said, man, I was 400 pounds, right? I had to look in the mirror, constantly getting into different relationships, right? Speaking for myself, I said, man, it's no hope. It's over. You know what I mean? Like this is how life is, right?
Right.
When really, those are really just tests to say, it isn't like this.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's temporary. So that's kind of my question, like what do you kind of give some examples of information on men that feel like, man, it's just over? Because it's very easy to kind of hone in on negativity.
Man, it's so easy. And I'm gonna say one thing, and kind of paraphrasing this quote, but one thing, we like the word hope, right? Hope is first of all our greatest detriment, but also our greatest power at the same time. Okay. But it mainly depends on how you use it. Most people do not understand how to use their own power, so they do feel hopeless. Okay. The person that knows how to use their power is very hopeful. They're hopeful because they understand the power that they actually possess. The problem with most men is when they feel like it's over is that they haven't even tapped into like not even 1% of the power that they actually possess. Because the power that they think they're needing is from somebody else, but the power is always within you. Okay. And they haven't accepted themselves. So yes, it's easy to say, oh man, all hope is gone, it's over. I'm at a point in my life where I'm broke, I'm overweight, my girlfriend left me, she took my kids, she took everything from me. And we can look at stats and different things like that. But life has a polar balance, right? Because like we always feel like the world is against men. Okay. But just like there's every positive, there's also every negative. There's always negative for every positive. We just been so focused so much on the negative. That's the only thing we keep putting out there over and over and over. So what you expect everybody to accept? You accept it because everybody's expecting it. They're expecting it, so you accept it. No, you don't have to accept that shit. You know what I'm saying?
It consumes people.
That's
It
what I'm
consumes them.
saying.
Yeah.
You don't have to be somebody. Yeah.
No, go ahead. It's funny. I just wanted to name acronym that I found. HOPE stands for How Our Power is Evolving.
Ooh,
I don't know if I don't know if you guys have ever thought about that or
put that on a t-shirt.
I know. You mentioned I like the way you mentioned hope, and people that feel hope or hopeful or hopeless,
right?
Meaning basically how our power is evolving. And so I just wanted to kind of bring that in there. But go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
It's perfect. It's perfect the way you said it, because I promise you, I had an amazing conversation with a shaman friend of mine the other day when we talked about how we misuse words so much and how we don't understand the words that we're saying, and we just say it without understanding the words that we're saying are actually manifesting in meaning and creating something. Okay. Depending on your intention behind your word is what you actually putting out into the universe, to God, for it to come back to you, which is why even in the Bible it says, my word cannot return back to me void. Think about that. If you really like hear it again, words are powers, words are spells, whatever, how you want to say it, right? Because even if we say that scripture all the time, my word cannot return back to me void, meaning if I say it, it can't come back to me empty. So whatever comes out of my mouth, it has to come back to me, whether it's negative or positive, and it has to come back. So watch the words that you're saying. So when you say things like, I am hopeless, meaning I am less than, I am low. Okay. When you say I am hopeful, that means I am full of hope that myself is full in this particular situation. You know what I mean? So if you start saying things intentionally and actually put some emphasis behind it, which is why I always laugh at guys like, I'm not gonna lie, we try to act hard sometimes. We try to act hard, be cool. I get it, you know what I'm saying? And I'm the quirky big guy, you know what I'm saying? I am, I know I am, you know, I just don't give a shit, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm free, man, you know what I'm saying? So the biggest thing is like, the beautiful thing is how I was raised, which makes me kind of very multicultural, very culturalistic in every area, because I was raised in the hood, went to a predominantly white church, and then went to a mixed school. So it was like, I had a combination of everything, you know what I'm saying? But even with all that, I learned how to apply every single thing per situation, you know what I'm saying? So guys feel like they're hopeless and they feel like, yo, this is the end of the journey for me. Number one thing I would say, and I hate to go there all the time, I'm like, yo, and it sounds very cliche, but it's so true. If God and life was done with you, you would not be here. Period. If you have to use that one thing to keep you going, use that. Because if that's the fact, if you was done, you didn't have to wake up today.
Yeah.
You could have just died in an accident. There's a million people die every single day. So you mean to tell me that you woke up the next day and you feel like hope is gone? Change your perspective, reprogram your mindset, because hope is already there because you woke up.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Use that as motivation. But because, again, we're looking externally. You wake up the next day, the first thing you do, you get on your cell phone, you look at social media, you go to a job that you don't like, you're arguing with a girl that you don't really want to be with. Your kids feel like they hate you because you have created this hell in your life and you keep doing it over and over and over. And now you feel like, oh, hope is gone. Man, put your foot down and say, I'm done with this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You got, I had to do it. So I'm telling you what I had to do.
Yep.
And I say, look, I hate to say this word too, but it's so true. You teach people how to treat you, right? And they only treat you the way you treat yourself. So as soon as you start setting standards for yourself, they'll realize that Rickey is a man of standards. I'm not an asshole, but I'm not anybody to walk over either. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not that. I have a really good balance, and I will smile and tell you off like it ain't nothing. You know what I mean? I'll be just like this, be like, dog, you might want to get out of my way because it's just stupid.
That's true.
You know, because you don't have to be all that. We've been talking about, to be aggressive, we got to be hard, all of that's like, man, no, just say what you're gonna say and go on about your business. You know what I mean? So the idea is, when you feel like you have nothing, you got to look at the smallest thing and realize that it is everything. Because the smallest thing is everything. The simplest breath that you take really is everything. You know how much energy it takes for you to actually breathe? That's why I got into psychology and understanding the mindset and massage therapy. Is like, yo, this human body really is amazing. You know what I'm saying? You know the process to actually breathe through your nose, how many filters go through your nose before it goes to your lungs? The whole process, just the fact that we're talking right now takes a good about 120 calories just to sit here and talk.
And the thing about it is, these conversations aren't being talked about either. Right?
Well, they're not popular. That's why.
No, they're not. They're not.
But,
no, they're not.
They're not popular.
But that's but it goes back to exactly what you were saying in terms of like the words you put out have an effect. They have power. You know, like so Phil and I were having this conversation earlier today. Like and it ties into what you were saying. I do not feel like about the insecurity. I do not feel like my life experience necessarily is relatable to everybody else. Now, part of that is because I know my like, not that my life is unique and I've led this, you know, I'm not an alien. You know, other people have lived my life, but it's just like I am somebody who I don't share. I don't share that. But like you said, the fact that I didn't share what I was feeling, what I was going through, just because I internalized that, oh, I internalized young, that pain is just going to be a part of my life. So I can either learn to deal with it or I'm just going to be complaining all the time, right? So I stopped vocalizing when I was uncomfortable with something or when I didn't like something, because it's just like I'm going to have to deal with it, you know. And that translated into I will try and do everything by myself. Or if I don't feel like I am qualified for the thing or secure in that thing, then I'm not going to attempt it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
With that thought process, and you may be about to answer it, but with that thought process, how has it developed your character?
So positively and negatively. So positively, it means I am like I don't want for much. I'll say that. Like it's very easy for me to be content in a situation. But negatively, it is very easy for me to be content in a situation. If that situation isn't right, it's just like, well, this is just something I have to deal with. Even though it may not be the best, the healthiest, the right thing, it's like, oh, these are just struggles that I have to go through so prime example. We were speaking about you're all in on situations that you go into. So I when I was younger, thought I had a business opportunity and went all in. talking about giving money, giving time, giving energy, giving everything I can so that I can succeed. And and then I went into the hospital for a medical procedure that basically meant I could not work for the next year and a half.
Mm.
So I've sunk all this money into a business venture that essentially blows up and implodes while I'm in the hospital going through this medical procedure. And I can't work to recover all of the money I've sunk into it. And I don't have any job prospects right now because I've been out of work for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also I'm sick, so my body is betraying me, or at least that's how I feel. So at that point, I'm just looking at it like, yo, these are all decisions you made that brought you, because you were just going along to get along. So, and now you're in a situation where you can't see a way out of it, at least at this point. And it literally took me, I'll say that was in like 2015, right? 2015, and I didn't work again until fall of 2016. So it was basically a year and 8 months of me not doing anything, not being able to do anything to get out of my situation. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, hey, you can now start applying for jobs. Hey, what's it called? You can start building up your savings again. And, like Phil, I was in the place of, I've wanted to accomplish all these things, and I haven't done anything to anybody to deserve where I am right now. So why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
And so I start working again. I start earning money again. I start building my savings, but I never learned the actual lesson. I never learned it's the choices you made that brought you here. So it's like, oh, if I have money, then none of this is the thing. That's the lesson I took in this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I reached externally for the solution.
Mm-hmm.
And in what was it, in 2019? No, yeah, not 2019, 2018. I ended up in a similar situation, meaning I'm not working, I'm not earning money, and I'm not accomplishing the things that I want to. And so I'm back at zero, which is where I've never wanted to be again. And like you, it was that hard conversation of, why are we here again? Because you said in 2017 that you were never going to be here again.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you done to change? And why are you still back in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately it boiled down to, you, like you said, you never learned how to use the power you have.
Absolutely.
Because I can, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I'm a pretty intelligent dude.
Nah, bro, go ahead, toot your own horn, man. You're supposed to, bro.
I mean, I'm not Steve Jobs or nothing, but I'm intelligent. I'm a logical thinker, and I'm a technical person. So there are certain skills I have that I know can earn me money.
Professor Ecko.
Go ahead.
Professor Ecko.
There you go.
There you go.
But I've never leaned into that because I thought, oh, I should not be this. I should be this instead.
Yeah.
And this instead is all stuff that other people told me I should be doing.
Right.
It's like, oh, you need to be an entrepreneur. Yes, cool, but I know I like teaching. I know I like storytelling. I know I like I those are the things I like. So in to make it more concrete, in 2020, after I have my come to Jesus moment, which essentially led to, all right, you've been talking about switching careers for the longest time, but you've
Mm,
been afraid to because you don't want to fail. Do it because right now you literally have nothing to lose. So I started training for IT and cybersecurity, which is
nice.
what I'm in now. And I did so well in it that the boot camp that I trained in, they called me back and asked me to be a teaching assistant.
Come on,
I
bro.
was like, all right, cool, bet.
Congratulations.
That's the first job I got, basically. It didn't pay me anything initially because I was a sub, but
Mm,
it was still something I could put on my resume and say, hey, I'm teaching cybersecurity. Cool. Next job I get is the IT side of stuff I literally said, hey, I want to get better at the fundamentals. So I want a job where I can sit and learn for about a year and a half,
mhm.
and see what my next move is. Next job I get is in April. The next significant job I get is in April that I've been working in since this is April 2020. Got the TA job in October of 2020. Got the other job in April of 2021. I've had both jobs since then.
Mm,
I've earned enough to accomplish some of the milestones that I had in mind. Oh, I need a place to live. Oh, I need to start being able to invest. Oh, I need to start putting capital into stuff. Oh, I need to start, accomplishing things that I want to accomplish, like like you've already done, becoming an author, all of this sort of stuff. And it's all about, unfortunately, it took me being at rock bottom to get to that.
let me say.
Mm.
Can I say? Let me say it real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fortunately, it's
Oh, okay, yeah, yep. Fortunately, yeah,
Fortunately, yeah,
fortunately, it took me being at rock bottom to get to that point.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I say all that to say, like, all of the things you're talking about right now, in practice, they work because
Mm,
it was literally when I was at that place of why am I here again? I sat down and I literally wrote it on a board, and I was like, if I don't need it to get to where I'm going, then I don't.
mm,
Mm.
So I stopped doing everything but let me focus on my career. Let me focus on my health. Let me focus on my goal.
mhm.
And it was during that period that Phil and I actually started the podcast. Phil didn't know
Yeah.
about it at the time, but yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't know about it at the time. But like being able to like podcasting was a goal of mine that I had written down, like a
Mm,
potential venture I had written down on a sheet of paper at one point where I was like, oh, potential business opportunity. Author was one, podcaster was one, radio. Like there was a whole bunch of stuff that I just wrote down
mhm.
and just started doing stuff, and lo and behold, here we are. And
Bingo.
Yeah.
and if I had mapped it out, I wouldn't have gotten there because I would have just been like, there's no way I could do this. But I
Hmm.
just started
Yeah.
doing stuff like you. You just
Yeah.
start doing stuff
Start
and
doing
trying stuff, and then all of a sudden it's just like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
it.
Well, I know how I
You know
got
how you got
here.
here, yeah.
I
Yeah.
know how I got here, but
Right.
I didn't expect to get here when I got here. And it,
Facts.
it is what it is.
Facts. Facts. Facts.
Which is, what word would you say spirituality and religion has played in your journey to get
Oh man, everything. And I'm gonna say everything. God, man, you don't have a whole other hour to talk about this, but
to? Hey, if you
I'm,
want to move this to the echo chamber, we can do that, bro.
Yeah.
uh,
I mean,
I,
yeah,
I,
definitely.
I'm gonna keep it short because that's this book I just finished, winning the battle against yourself, and you have to know yourself in order to. Nothing makes sense unless you make it make sense, right? That's my subtitle. I only got here because of religion. Okay. And I'm going to take my time and say it on purpose. because I deal with a lot of church hurt people. Okay. My dad's a pastor. I'm a licensed minister, ordained minister. My mother's an evangelist. I grew up in a strict Pentecostal church, west side of Port Arthur, Texas, small town. Church. I mean, y'all can just throw a story out there. I would say yes, right? For lack of time, for lack of time, you know. But understanding the first page of my book is the source. Okay. I'll send it to y'all. The first page is the source. And I'm gonna just give you a brief snippet of it, because I literally said the day I found God was the day I realized I don't need God. Okay. Sounds crazy. But then I understood from a different perspective, again, hanging out with different spiritual people and shamans and evangelists, all these different, like, so I hung out with so many people, and I only got that experience being homeless. That's why I told you earlier, fortunate being at the bottom of your life. You know what I'm saying? I was homeless for 2 years. So I was forced to be on the streets, survive however I could. So fortunately, I ended up hanging out with a lot of yogis and shamans and spiritual leaders and so on, you know, all these people who are different into astrology, different stuff like that, right? But I grew up in the church. I grew up in Pentecostal church, you know, Pentecostal and Baptist church. So I got the best of both worlds, right? So when I was homeless and broke and hanging out with all the different people and listening, because I ain't had no choice, because I ain't had nowhere to go. So I had no choice but to listen, right? Even if I didn't want to, I just listened. And I realized at that moment, 2013, exactly 10 years to the, almost to the day now, that everybody's saying the same exact thing. Everybody. I don't care what religion, denomination, what book, whether you read out of the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, calligraphy, whatever it is, everybody's saying the same exact thing. They're just expressing it differently. Okay. So here's the biggest thing I learned with spirituality. And we take the word spirit. Now, I love the fact that people are becoming more woke and spiritual. My idea and my thought process, even as a coach, as a spiritual coach, as an advisor, is that nothing is as complicated as you want it to be. It's actually very, very, very simple. Okay. So when we think spirituality, I get it now. We went from the Bible to, you know, Jesus coming back and everybody's going to hell because you're a sinner and so on and so forth, you know, to now it's more of a, oh, okay, you know, God doesn't want to kill everybody, just only certain people. And then now it's more like God loves everybody, but there's still some people to do, you know what I'm saying? So now we want to be more spiritual and we want to be in tune with Mother Nature and everything, snap your fingers and all this stuff, right? I get it, right? So this is kind of where we are right now. It's a big gumbo of everybody doing what the hell they want and don't know what the hell they want, but they just doing something. Go. Spirituality is literally just this. When you breathe, that is spirituality. That's it. Your breath, your breath, think about it. Your breath is a spirit. So when we mentioned earlier, the things you say actually have power. Even in the freaking Bible, it says it. In the beginning was the word. There was nothing physical. It was just a word. The Torah said the same thing. The Quran said the same, the word. So spirituality has everything to do with accepting the things that come out of your mouth, which means who you are inside of you, the God inside of you is the spirit. So spirituality means just becoming one with yourself, which is why now I say when you win the battle against yourself, you win ultimately. So how do you win ultimately? By accepting yourself, which is being a spiritual person and a spiritual being, because you are technically a spirit inside this freaking avatar weird ass body. You know what I'm saying? So spirituality just really means, yo, who is the person inside of you? Like even right now, I always say the perfect example. I was messing with my little 8-year-old daughter the other day. She's so funny. And I said, Phoenix, think in your head right now. Who is the voice that you hear? She said, it's me. I said, did it sound like you? She said, yeah. I said, how do you know that's you talking? Because it's me. It's me inside of me. It's an 8-year-old saying these things, right? So I said, when you open your mouth, do you hear the same exact voice? She said, yeah. So it's the same person inside as the same person outside. And she was like, yeah. And she said, wait, that's just like God. When they say God is everywhere, inside of me and all around me.
There you go.
Yeah.
So religion, spirituality, God concept.
It's all the same
it's
thing.
all the same thing. It's really just somebody else's interpretation of how they want to express their inner being. How do you express the stars, the moons, and even I watched another documentary just really messing people's heads up, messing my head up because they went through a whole documentary of how the Bible is nothing more than a translation of astrology.
I what's it called? I've heard that, but I was having a conversation with a former coworker. I hope he's doing okay. He what's it called? He left, and I haven't heard from him since. But I was having a conversation with a former coworker,
Mm.
and we used to get into spiritual conversations, right? And he said something one day, and he was like, "Yeah, I went back home, and I was talking to my elders about our more traditional religion, and they were talking about like they don't typically tell people about it because most people don't really understand it." And I was thinking the same thing because I haven't personally I haven't asked. So I'm Ghanaian, right? So our traditional religion is, well, what I believe our traditional religion is it's more related to, I guess, what you would call shamanism or animism or what.
Mm.
I'm not sure how to classify it, right? But I was going through and I was like reading up on it, and basically within the first like 10, 15 minutes, I was just like, all of these concepts are the same concepts as Christianity. It's just there are a couple more celestial beings in between,
Yeah,
right?
which actually, if you look at it in more detail with the Bible, they also talk about celestial beings and aliens and different things.
Hmm.
We can talk about it a whole other day, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but like you were
Yeah.
saying, like ultimately a shaman, you said you were having a conversation with a shaman. Ultimately, a shaman is somebody who allows gods, spirits, whatever you want to
Mhm.
call them or classify them, to dwell within them and acts as a medium.
Mhm.
Mm.
As Christians, what do people say all the time? God dwell within me.
Mhm.
My
Yeah.
body is a temple for the Lord. And it's just like it is the same
It's the same as that.
concept.
Yo, look, let me
It's
pause
just
it right quick because check it out. And I had this conversation again. I grew up Pentecostal, coming from pastors, and I've been to seminary school and all this good stuff, and I get the behind the scenes stuff. So when they talked about speaking in tongues, right? You know, there's a scripture in the Bible. I can't remember the top of my head right now, but we always talk about interpretation. In the scripture in the Bible is like, no, nobody can interpret tongues unless you've been ordained by God, right? So just like you explained a shaman, right? They're allowing the spirit within them to speak through them as a medium. In the Pentecostal church, if somebody stands up and starts speaking in tongues, only one person is qualified to translate, right?
mhm,
That
yep.
person is supposed to be the translator from tongues to English, right? That's a freaking shaman to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same person. But if you was to say, oh, I want to talk to a shaman or a spiritual advisor, oh, that's not of God. Actually, you said it's of God more than I did because you said that a person, only a qualified person is supposed to be able to translate tongues that's come from the Holy Spirit into English language. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So y'all saying the same thing.
Yeah. And
So,
sorry,
oh, go ahead.
last point. I know we went sort of left, but
Oh, don't worry.
I
This
wanted
this
to.
this is going on echo chamber. Don't worry.
Okay, it's fine.
It's good.
But I said all of that so we could bring it back to the what's it called? Ultimately, like you said, whether you call it energy, it's like it's determining who you are and who you want to be. Like
Yeah.
your interpretation of your spirit, your your goals, your it's coming up with that definition for yourself
Mm-hmm.
and then putting that into the world.
That's it.
And you and like you were saying, people who don't understand their own power, the people who are so convicted in that idea of, oh, this what this spirit, this religion, whatever, this is my power, or this is where my power lies. Their belief is so firm in it, their conviction is so firm that it literally influences hundreds of millions of people. Like Christianity is one of the biggest religions in the world because of an idea that a few people were convicted about early and had the
Centuries ago.
wherewithal to speak into the world.
Right.
Islam, another one of the biggest religions in the world that people were convicted enough about to speak about and push into the world. And now its power is immeasurable.
Yeah. So we'll go into the final point here, man. It's called our Wrap It Up series. Rickey has been a part of this before, man. Laid some gems. It was very well said and spoken about. So we have our Wrap It Up series, Mr. Rickey Getwood Jr. You got the floor, sir.
Oh, that's what's up, man. Man, this was amazing, man. Stuff like this. I appreciate y'all for having this platform, man. This is what's needed. I really hope that people hear it, apply it, and utilize the information that we're talking about. And we got to push twice as hard because there's so many negative forces working against stuff like this. You know what I mean? It's not a popular topic. We're trying to make people more conscious, more empowered. And the system is not set up for people to be empowered and conscious and powerful. It's to keep you lying dormant so they could be more empowered and then you be more confused and busy. Which kind of brings me to one of my first points is don't be unnecessarily busy. I take it from somebody who has 5 different career paths, and I literally everything I say I do it every day. Well, at least I do it within the week. So I'm coaching just about every day. I'm personal training just about every day. I'm massaging 2 or 3 days out the week. I'm playing drums at least twice out of the week. You know what I'm saying? Obviously writing my book, working on that every single day. But these are things that I actually do. They're not just random business ventures. They're not just, let me just make up something to do to keep busy. You know what I'm saying? I am necessarily busy. I used to be unnecessarily busy doing things that I wasn't qualified for and things that didn't line up with my path. Okay. With my life path. So figure out what your life path is. Once you figure out what your life path is, then you start setting things in stone and you apply it over and over and over necessarily. And here's the thing, be very, very honest with yourself. If you honestly say that I'm not where I need to be, and we kind of briefly all talked about this stuff. I know I'm not where I need to be, whether it's mentally, physically, and financially. One thing I don't want us to I want us to be comfortable with is being woke and broke. Okay. There's a lot of woke and broke people, and I used to be one of them, and I'm literally transitioning myself out of that mindset, and which is one of my biggest obstacles because I grew up poor. And again, taking my mindset out of that poverty mindset is not easy. So certain things I do every single day when I keep talking about being busy on purpose, I wake up every single morning to affirmations. I would tell anybody this. You don't do anything else. However, you're trying to reprogram your brain and your habits, become obsessed with it. Okay. Not like crazy obsessed, but intentionally obsessed to where every single thing you do is lined up with that particular thing. I wake up every single morning. I listen to a video on YouTube called VYBO. Visualize yourself beyond ordinary. Okay. And it's nonstop affirmations. I'm successful. I am happy. I am rich. I am wealthy. I'm a millionaire. I travel all the time. I wake up today every single morning. So it's the first thing I hear. It's the first thing everybody in the house hear. I have it blasting loud enough so everybody can hear it. Because that's all I want to hear. First thing in the morning. So the first thing in the morning, wake up. I hear it over and over and over. So I'm programming my brain because first part of the morning, let's put it this way, brief backstory. I'm 41 now. Grew up in Port Arthur. I didn't get to Houston until I was like almost 30, right? So that means I spent 20 plus years of my life in a impoverished mindset, surrounded with broken, negative people. Okay, surrounded with people who were either going to jail, working for the city, sick, impoverished mindset. You know what I'm saying? So I had to spend the next 15 plus years undoing that cycle. You know what I mean? So become obsessed with undoing it. Even right now to this day, like I have these little sticky tabs all over my house. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all I want to see. I'm on a mission to make sure that I make $2,739 a day, $19,230 a week, $83,330 a month, which equals $1 million a year. You know what I'm saying? Like see it over and over and over. It's how you reprogram your brain if you're trying to take yourself to the next level. You know what I'm saying? So become obsessed with being successful in the right lane, not just some random stuff. Find your thing, become super obsessed with it. And when you become obsessed with it, here's the thing. Here's the beautiful thing. When you become obsessed with it, everybody around you knows that that's your thing. Okay? When they realize that that's your thing, they go do one or two things. They either get out of your way or they go stick around and let you do your thing. Period. Okay? Because you got to have it, especially men. Part of being a man, I like to use a stoic man, is that you're very set in your ways comfortably, respectfully, and intentionally. Okay? We talked about earlier, not being an asshole. You don't have to be an asshole to be intentional. I can say exactly what I'm gonna do in this very same tone, not being mean, not yelling, none of that stuff. It just is what it is. Hey, I'm not stopping until I hit $1 million. Period. You're either gonna be on this train or you're not gonna be on this train. If you're not dying, please leave me alone. You know what I mean? Be obsessed with it, but set yourself in stone with, hey, this is what I want with my life, and be okay with it. Don't compromise who you are. Don't compromise what you want for any emotional codependency. And it's something that we've all done.
Yeah.
I'm missing something. I feel like I need this. So, and I got this girl who just wants some of my time or whatever. Like, yo, she could wait. Trust me. When you become, especially men, when you get to a certain level or you feel confident and competent with yourself, women come around. We all know that. It just happens, right? Yeah. You know, and one of the last things I'm gonna say is this, man. If you don't take, which probably should have said this thing first because it makes so much more sense. Taking care of your body, taking care of your temple is what's going to allow you to do all the other successful things that you want to do. Because if you don't feel good, you're not going to look good. Okay. Notice I said it that way on purpose. Sometimes we like to say look and feel. No. When you feel good, okay, to the world you could be quote unquote ugly, but to yourself you're gonna look good because you feel good. You know what I'm saying? So feel good first. Get this body right, man. Make sure that you have a proper amount of energy. You're not putting negative stuff inside your system. Be okay with saying, "Low, I'm changing my life," and it doesn't have to be something super detrimental. I don't even have to starve myself. Figure out what works best for your body. How much food should you be eating every single day? What type of workout should I be doing every single day? How much sleep do I need every single day in order for me to function in these particular areas? Because you talking, man, that's a look. You talking to somebody who used to go on 4 hours of sleep for 5 years straight. You know what I'm saying? I ended up putting myself in the hospital. I passed out from a nervous breakdown, literally. So that's why now I'm big on understanding I have to take care of my body. I have to rest, and it's a-okay. Because when you rest, you literally wake up at your best. Because you're giving your body time to reset. Think about the word reset. The first word is rest. Okay? You have to rest. You know, to reset your body. Rest. Allow yourself time to rest. That way, when you wake up and you have these bullet points of things you say you need to do, you have so much more focus, so much more energetic, man. And the last thing I'm saying is this. I know I said this. Last thing is this: like life doesn't get easier. You just get better at dealing with it. So this whole concept of things should be comfortable. Cancel it. Stop thinking. Just forget it. There's going to be moments in your life when things are going to be comfortable, but it's not supposed to be every single day. Life is not set up that way. It's not, this particular life is not set up for us to be comfortable all the time. Yeah. If it was, okay, we wouldn't be talking about it. If you think about it, the stuff we talk about, okay, the stuff we talk about are applicable things that we see and do every single day. So if it wasn't relevant, we wouldn't be bringing it up, okay? We wouldn't be talking about it. So it's relevant. Life is not meant to be easy, okay? It's meant to be manageable, which means if you get very comfortable being uncomfortable and just train your mind and body to get on this cycle of, man, you know what? I'm on the right path because yes, it's uncomfortable, but I see where the hell I'm going. I see where I'm going. So this part is cool. You know what I'm saying? Let me go through the process of being uncomfortable. That way, when something happens, which is why I like to use the illustration of working out, when you go to the gym, you may start off bench pressing 100 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Do that for a couple of weeks, right? Go back next week, put on 120, hit that a couple of times. Go back another couple. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just go in the gym and try to bench press 300 pounds. You're gonna die. You're gonna break something. So it's okay to say this is where I am, but I know where I'm going, and I'm just not going to stop. The last thing I keep saying, last thing. The last thing is this: if you spent 30 plus years of your life living in hell, why not intentionally go through a year of more hell just to get to heaven.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. What a great message from Mr. Rickey Getwood Jr. Make sure you guys follow him on Instagram. His handles will be down in the description, man. Thank you so much. Life coach, personal trainer, author, drummer, motivational speaker, and a licensed massage therapist, man. Really appreciate you coming on the show, taking the time, actually second time being on, man. Really appreciate it. Many more interviews to come, man. Make sure you guys also like and share Let's Rock podcast. Make sure you guys give you guys feedback on this. Are you feeling like you're 0 right now? Because if you're feeling that way, definitely listen to this episode. Definitely respond, man. Let us know what you guys are going through. Let us know. I'm pretty sure either one of us, these two guys, including myself, can kind of relate to what you guys are going through, man. Power of the tongue and evolving, man, how your power is evolving. Hope. Never feel like, it's over, because it's not. All right. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. And I'm Philosophikal from the Let's Rock podcast. I'm out.
I'm Jay Ecko. Take it easy.
Thank you guys.
Peace,
man.
y'all.
Peace.
Man, appreciate you guys having me. Shout out to y'all, man. And yeah, I'm happy to be here, man.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here, man. You guys are doing amazing things.
It's good, man. We doing good. I see you guys looking great.
Well, I appreciate y'all for having me out, taking y'all time, and promoting positive Black image.